Hi, Don. Welcome to TradeGATEHub Traders. I have Don Mead. I have Don Mead with us this morning. He is a publisher and editor of the Seven Sentinels Market Letter. I've talked to Don several times over the years, and he has a very important market message to share. Welcome to TGH, Don. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, Dale. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's great to
Good to
have
see
you.
you.
Yeah, so why don't we start off with, I always find it interesting to know the origins of how people got from point A to B. So, what were you doing, and what was your first foray into the financial markets?
Well, when I was a college student, I was enrolled first in engineering, and because of my math background, they put me into some honors physics and trigonometry and so on. And I thought that that's what I wanted to do, but I found out fairly quickly that I'm more interested in what drives people than what drives rockets to the moon. So
Interesting.
I then changed my major to psychology and found that to be fascinating, understanding people a little bit. But I took a job in the evening as I was in college, paying my way through at Merrill Lynch. And my
Okay.
first job at Merrill Lynch in 1969 was as the order clerk. It was my job to keep track
Yeah.
of all the supplies that ran that Merrill Lynch office. And by the way, it was the seventh largest Merrill Lynch office in the world
Where was the
uh,
branch? Where was it?
in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I
All
didn't
right.
mention that, did I?
Okay.
At any rate, so I started doing that in the evening, and as I poked my head around and watched what people were doing, I became fascinated with the whole concept of the market and trading and so on. I talked to all the brokers, I talked to the customers, became fascinated, and I then moved up to being the head margin clerk for the branch. And then finally went to see the boss and told him one day, you're wasting a valuable asset. I need to be a broker for you. And
Okay.
he said, okay. He said, to my surprise, he said, well, let's see. I can have you in New York taking the training class on, I forgot what the date was, like September 28th. Would that work for you? And I said, sure. So I started out as a broker for Merrill Lynch in 1974.
Okay.
As I
So
recall.
how did you like working the Coles directory and making cold calls?
Oh wow, a lot of work. Uh,
How
Very
many
demanding.
dials? How many dials a day when you were really hitting
Uh,
it hard?
uh,
Come on.
Probably uh, easily 50, maybe 100.
Okay, so was that the motivation to get you to learn how to trade so you wouldn't have to do that anymore? Huh?
No, the motivation to get me to trade was the market itself. It just kind
Okay.
of drew me in.
Yeah.
I started
Okay.
studying everything I could find, and I became especially fascinated with Jesse Livermore's life story, which we'll
Yes.
get to in a minute when we talk
Yeah.
about a rainmaker.
What was it, his famous book was what was it?
Reminiscence of a Stock Operator,
Okay, I know.
which was written under the well, it was actually written by Edwin Lefebvre about a fictitious guy called uh, Livingston. I think it
Okay.
was instead
All
of
right.
Livermore. But it was indeed the exact life story of Jesse Livermore.
Okay. So I know that you integrate a lot of his teachings into your work. And Seven Sentinels stands for seven very important market gauges for you. Sentinels are supposed to be guards and
Yes,
protect. And so
yes,
you
indeed they
read,
are.
yeah, so you read when the Sentinels are strong, and you read when the Sentinels are caving or getting picked off. And that's part
Yes,
of
that's
your
exactly right.
part of your analysis. So I've been following you send me some nice emails, and I saw and know that you have been looking for a significant high in the market, and you had some nice gains in SQQQ. In fact, when I looked at it, your mix of short positions, the only position that was down was VIX. Okay, so I want
Yeah,
to ask you, because I have my experiences with VIX.
right.
Why, which is a very difficult thing to capitalize on, because you could have big market declines and the VIX be pretty managed, like a 22 decline. So I'm wondering why you include that in the mix of your bearish positions in the market, VIX.
Be,
As,
because
uh,
simply because in true bearish moves, VIX leads the market upward.
okay.
Well,
Ha
I should say it moves upward ahead of the market moving down.
Well, we have had successive higher lows, even though recently we tested that low again at 1250, traded up towards 20 and a half and pulled back towards 14 up today. If you and I are right, and there's another wave to the downside, and I could come up with a count of about 28 in the VIX if it's 1.618 of the first advance. So
Yes,
enough
good.
of enough about
That's good to
me.
know. I don't usually do measured moves and
Yeah.
counts and so on
Well,
VIX.
it's a fib extension of the first move, which was 9, 10 points. Looking for 16, 15 from the recent low gives me that area.
Actually, useful information for me. So thank you.
Okay, so why don't you tell us what you're seeing, and let me be devil's advocate.
You bet.
Why is this different than any other short-term swing high that you just get a pullback from, and then the advance continues? Is there anything that's really glaring to you for you to come up with the conclusion that this is really a long-term turning point in the market? Because I always say you only know in the rearview mirror.
Right.
So why don't you tell us what really has you convinced, and what you think is going to happen, and run through your slides with us now.
Okay. Um, let's start here. Let's see. You remember? I noticed in your message the other day you brought up Rainmaker,
Yes.
and that reminded me of the first time we talked, and we talked about what is a rainmaker trade or a rainmaker situation for anybody. And
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about the movie Rainmaker with Matt Damon and Danny DeVito, where these
Okay.
two fellows were working for a kind of uh, unethical attorney by the name of Bruiser, and I think they hauled him off to jail, and these two guys were on their own, so they decided to start up their own company, their own law firm, which they did. And they finally they fell into a rainmaker kind of a situation in which it was kind of a David and Goliath story, where they went up against a major insurance company and ultimately beat them to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, that makes me think of Jesse Livermore and his own rainmaker story. He started as a um, board marker, Payne
Okay.
Weber,
All right.
in the 1890s at 15 years old. And when he started trading, he and another fellow that worked there pooled their money and had $5 to start trading. And from that $5 came one of the most magnificent careers anybody could ever imagine. Um, and kind of culminating in the 1929 to 1932 crash in the market, bear market, where
So
his
Jesse never blew an account,
never
according
blew
to
an
this
account.
story.
He blew a lot
No,
of.
I mean later from the beginning, with this $5 that he had to pony up again before he made the breakthroughs and had the experience to
Well,
really
he turned
become.
that $5 into. He tells the story about he came to his mother and laid out $1,000 on the table that he had made, and she was just absolutely stunned and shocked and couldn't believe what she was seeing. But that was just a beginning. Yeah, he
Yeah,
blew it a number of times along the way.
okay.
Um,
So
and
even
it
the
was,
market masters, I want to just speak to our viewers.
yeah,
Even the market masters have made, it's a one mistake business, have made
yeah,
that mistake. So,
yeah.
uh, you know, be gentler on yourself, and embrace your failures. I bet Jesse embraced his
They are
failures.
learning experiences. Every failure is a learning experience.
Okay,
And
well,
that's how we become seasoned,
I am very
successful
experienced,
traders.
according to that definition. So, okay, let's get to what's happening today. So, since October, and we're talking about rainmakers, the Bears are in a drought.
Yeah,
Okay, they also had their clock cleaned on that dramatic rally from 4,100
yeah.
to 53, and you're seeing signs from your seven sentinels that tell you this could be not just a run of the mill 10% correction, but something more than that. Tell us why.
Okay. What I'm seeing in the market is in the big picture, I see the whole thing that has developed since about 2018, accelerating in 2020 up to the 2022 top as
Yeah,
one big secular trend top. And by secular trend, I mean a cycle that is much larger than the 4 year cycle,
got you.
typically a trend that runs 20 years or more. And the secular market trend, I believe, has been topping now for the last 4 years. And I see the 2022 peak as the first part of the secular market peak. I see the 2024 peak as being a retest of that and a completion of that big secular top. Um,
Okay.
and that's based on sentiment, which I regard as having reached extremes, more extreme, or as extreme at least, as the 1920s, the 1929 peak. And there are many measures of that. In fact, uh, am I able to show you my
Yeah,
website here? Let me.
sure. Yeah, just click on that. If you have it on a different window, you might have to stop sharing and then reshare.
Okay. Okay. I have it on my window now. Do I hit sharing here somewhere?
You probably have to hit stop share and then share again. So just click that button and see what happens. Or the stop share is on top. Maybe I could do it for you.
I see. Okay, I see. I see you. I see mute. I see trade view.
On the bottom
Um,
is the share screen where you went earlier. And if you move your cursor up to the top of the screen, it'll say stop share, screen share. There'll be a little icon.
okay.
Or
Okay.
just or just hit share screen again on the bottom and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try
There,
that. Click it.
there it is. Now, what I wanted to show you was this screen.
Got it.
And are you seeing now the
Yeah.
Seven Sentinels website?
Yes. Got it.
Okay. Good. Um, what I want to talk about, there's a number of articles here that really explain in some detail how I come to the overview of the market that I have. One of them, or a couple of them here, talk about the extremes in the market that have been reached in the last 2 to 4 years. One of those is one is okay, yeah, this one. An article about the extremes in the market. Can you see this? Does it say bear
Yes.
market will bottom when we reach opposite?
Yeah.
Okay. That's an article. And my point is, if you go to sevensentinels.com and just simply log in, look at the top of the page. There's any of these articles are free to everybody to just open up. This happens to be one of them that goes through the extremes that the market has reached in the last 5 years. And those extremes, by many measures, are the most extreme that have ever occurred in my lifetime. And I think from historical study, they're even more extreme than we saw at the 1929 peak. So that's for start. One of the things that has convinced me that we're at the top.
And what are those sentiment measurements that are in record territory?
Okay,
Three.
let's come down and look at some of them. Well, fear and greed index hit 95, which is highest reading I've ever seen in 2017. Then we went on to the NAAIM exposure level of hedge funds. Are you familiar with that
Yes.
one, Dale?
Yeah.
Yeah, it reached a an exposure level, which is pretty amazing, of the average hedge fund was invested at something
110.
like 110%.
Okay.
Meaning,
So so they're on margin of
yeah.
10%.
Now, do you see this chart going back over the
Yes,
last 10 years?
I do.
They only got over 100% just briefly. One, two, three, four, and this was the fifth time.
Okay.
So that's just one case. But some of the things that we're talking about are just the excessive valuations of companies where, for example, in 2020, Apple's valuation
Yeah.
exceeded the level of the entire Russell 2000.
And that has never happened before with a mega cap or anything else.
Exactly right.
Okay.
Some of the other factors were the options buying, where
Oh, the daily options
yes,
became a mania.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And there was a period in 2021 where there were more dollars going into options every day than there were going into stocks. This never happened before. And most of those options were had expirations of 10 days or less.
Okay.
Now, imagine that. More money going into 10-day options that are going to expire worthless if you're wrong.
Yeah.
Then we're going into stocks.
Because it was just such an easy thing to do.
Yes,
It
and
worked for
because
a while.
people were so confident, they had no appreciation whatsoever of fear. They didn't know that fear, or I should say, of risk. They didn't know that risk even existed, and all they could think of was everything's going up. I got to pour the money into the options.
Well, we're a little over a month into this correction. The S&P topped the 23rd. That was 2 days after the equinox, and had a secondary peak into the eclipse on the 8th. Once we took out that 5150 level, which was a big level for me. So, with that being said, are you still seeing that type of, is there still a lot of complacency, even though we're a month into it, or
Oh,
has that changed?
absolutely. Oh,
Because I saw the
absolutely.
fear and greed short-term one was starting to fall into the fear category.
Yes. But like I was showing in that article about reaching the opposite extreme of what we had in 19, what we've had over the last several years, we're going to at some point go to the opposite of that. And the opposite of a 95 reading is something like a reading of 2 or 3 or 4. And we're a long ways from getting down to that. We're just starting a
Okay.
decline now.
Okay. All right.
Are you seeing now a chart that has kind of an
McClellan,
orange
the
background?
McClellan oscillator.
Yes.
This is one of your sentinels.
Yes, I use the McClellan oscillator in many, many ways, but among those are the 7 sentinels. Uh, can you see these 2 lines? Are they
Yes.
clear enough on your screen? Okay. One of those is the 13-day average of the McClellan oscillator. The other is the 34-day average of the McClellan oscillator. Do you want me to explain what the McClellan oscillator is? It's just basically a measure of net advances on the New York Stock Exchange over a period of time.
Yeah, I've
Um,
interviewed Tom. I remember his
oh, good.
dad. I remember his dad um,
Yeah.
from KYTV on Channel 22 in
Oh, I
LA.
didn't know he was on TV. I do know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
from the
yeah.
time he invented the
Him and
McClellan oscillator, which was what, 1969?
yeah, and his
And
mother was part of that, coming up with these formulas too. So
yeah,
Tom's carrying on the name.
yes,
Um,
yes, he
o-
is.
okay, so this is an important one if we get a crossing. I see
Yes,
those 2 lines converging here.
yes. When
Okay.
the 13-day moving average of the McClellan, which itself is a moving average. I know this gets really kind of into the weeds ways, but when the 13-day average of the McClellan crosses above the 34-day average, that means that advances are increasing and you have power behind an up move in the market. When the opposite condition exists or occurs, the 13 drops below the 34, which is what happened right here on bingo,
Yeah,
April 2nd. Can you
yeah,
see that?
I do.
Okay. That means that the uh, net declines are advancing, overpowering the net advances, and the momentum of the market then is down. This crossing below the 13 below the 34 back on April, first week of April, uh, really was a signal that we are in a downtrend in the market. And you can depend on that being a real downtrend. It's not just a little blip.
Okay.
So we entered into the downtrend clear back here in the 1st of April. And then we had uh,
The relief rally.
the relief rally. And interestingly, I have something called the NIMO surge signal, which gave out a big buy signal here for a rebound. And it did, in fact, rebound right up to the 50-day moving average right here. And we are now back into the decline. And in my opinion, this is the real thing. We have completed the long-term bull market top, 4-year cycle. I believe we've completed a secular bull market top, and the intermediate term trend is down, and now the short-term trend today has or yesterday has turned back down, and I believe we're going to be seeing new lows in this market just within a matter of 3 or 4 days.
Okay,
new
what do you
lows
say to
meeting.
what do you say to the guys that are saying, look, it was normal, we were overbought, we were stretched for the market to come back to 4,800 would be just a normal pullback, nothing unusual about it. It's a dip to buy. What's the counter argument to that?
Counter argument in my mind is momentum. Speaking of the McClellan oscillator, notice down here, can you see that on
Yeah,
April 16?
we see everything you're pointing at.
Good. The McClellan oscillator reached a low of minus 102.
Yeah.
That isn't the kind of thing you see in, as you say, a normal pullback from an overbought market.
Okay.
That is real downside selling pressure. If you're
Okay.
following
Yeah. And
my
I
meaning.
think part of the relief rally was that, you know, after Israel retaliated, it was like, you know, people are thinking it's one and done. And
Yes.
I think you and I probably have different opinions about that. You know, Passover just ended yesterday, so they could go to war again. And
Oh, yeah. I
so do you think
absolutely believe
you
that.
think it's going to be an exogenous event? People are very focused on the Fed and rates, or is it going to be that old saying, in a bull market, anything that could go wrong doesn't, and in a bear market, everything that could go wrong does?
Well, I believe, yes, I believe that everything that can go wrong is going to, because of the way things are lined up now. I
Okay.
wrote an article uh, recently called The Little Thing. And in that article, let's see if I can get that up here now.
Yeah, just go to your website again.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Stones. Give me shelter, which is what
Yeah,
everyone's
that
going
was
to need. Give me shelter. In
exactly
fact, make it a bunker.
right. Right. Um, this article, The Little Things, uh, is about, well, actually, it's about what you've been asking about. What convinces me
Yeah.
that we are at a top, that this really is a top, not just another pullback in an ongoing bull market, but a real,
Is
a
there a
real top,
price level that would confirm it to you, or is it all momentum indicators where it's not price sensitive, it's momentum?
the latter.
Okay.
It is
All
momentum.
momentum.
But
Okay.
if you want to talk about some of the specific factors that are confirming this downtrend, we talked about VIX.
Yeah.
If you look at the monthly chart on VIX, and I think I put that in this article. Let's see if I did.
Yeah, there it
Yeah,
is.
that's
Yeah.
the monthly. No, that's the daily. I put the month in here. Well, at any rate,
Yeah,
if you look,
it had a good April. It had a good April.
yeah, but it's breaking out. It's more than just a pop. It is if you run
All
the
right.
MACD
Yeah.
of monthly VIX, it has gone to a buy signal.
Okay, and this pullback to 14 and a half was about a 78% retrace from 12 to 20.
Good.
And you have at least now a higher low where you could be wrong if we ever trade at 12 again.
Yes.
So these readings in VIX have changed. I'm thinking that you probably
Yes.
think that we could see, you know, astronomic levels in VIX as
But
we go down the
here
road.
are a number of things. I'll go through them real quickly. The little things that are telling me that this is for real. The breakout in the monthly VIX,
And the
gold
metals.
is
Yeah.
at an all-time high. And you start looking at risk off assets like consumer staples, healthcare, utilities, discount retailers. Those are by far outperforming uh, the market in every way. The smart money, as I see it, is moving to the defensive positions in the market.
Transport's getting killed as well. Do you put any stock in a Dow theory sell, which we got, I think, a week ago?
I do, but it isn't important in my
Okay.
work.
Okay. Where do you think gold could go to,
Here
Don?
is gold hitting an all-time high.
Where's it going,
Uh,
Don?
pa- pardon?
3,000, 4,000, 5,000? Gold.
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear your
Where's
question.
gold going during this bear
Oh, okay.
market?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm a specialist in
All right.
specifically the SPX. And I'll let
Okay.
I look to Dale Pinker to know what gold's going to do.
Okay. Well,
Because he's one of the best
he's right.
I've
He
seen.
he's right, maybe half the time. But, if we get the kind of decline, and maybe not at the beginning, but I think we saw shades of it yesterday where everything sold off. The miners sold off. When you have these types of declines, sometimes they throw the baby out with the bathwater, and it's not a good time to be long almost anything except cash, because
Yeah.
people will sell the kitchen sink to meet calls. I mean, cannabis had a good day yesterday, but if people need money, they'll sell their marijuana stocks and go out and buy an ounce. So
That's right.
anyway, so there are situations where you get into a liquidity crisis and everything's for sale. Do you think we're
Yes.
going there?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right. That's a bust.
How much time do we have left? I wanted to
What
touch on.
time do you have? I'm not even looking at the
I've
clock.
got 8:02. Are we already past our
Yeah,
allotted?
well, we could take a little longer, Don. Go ahead and make your strongest points for
What I
people that
wanted,
give for
what I want to
people
emphasize is
for
this. Number
because
one,
because you
anybody
can.
watch anybody watching can go to sevensentinels.com and read a number of articles here at no cost. Just click on it and they're free. That kind of explain in real detail how I come to the conclusions that I come to. And I
Okay.
think I make the cases pretty strongly.
Okay.
But I also wanted to mention that another thing we do at sevensentinels.com is we keep, we run a model portfolio or a tracking portfolio, and every single day we're showing our positions. Right now we're in 12% VXX, 8% SQQ, 27% TZA, 15% SPXU, and 38% cash. We show that
And
portfolio.
notice Don has stops, hard stops. That means paper in, right?
Absolutely,
Okay.
100% right.
Okay.
Um, since the market had its first peak on January 4th, 2022, that model portfolio at that time was $1,206,085. Since then, it has gone to 2,880,325, or up 138%. And that's with the positions that we show every day. We show every single trade we do in real time. And I just want to make it clear that information is available to traders. For those who want to follow me on Twitter or X, every 30 minutes or so, I post really key internal information that helps you understand what the trend of the market is, even on a short-term basis. One other thing I just want to mention is that I am running a special now for people that are watching here. If they want to just take a look at sevensentinels.com without any great risk or dollar expenditure, you can have 10 days for $2 and cancel anytime, pay nothing more, but get the 10 days. And if you decide to continue, great. If you don't, that's okay. If we've cost you $2.
Do you trade your own stuff, Don?
You bet I do.
Okay. Is
And
that
in fact, my
portfolio?
own personal portfolio looks a lot
Okay.
like
Are, are,
this, except that I do a lot of it with options.
okay. All right. So this is your portfolio combination, but the like 2.8 million is a theoretical account.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And we track it every day. Every time we take a trade, we post the change to the portfolio and keep tracking it. And it's we post that portfolio every night so you can see the change. Now we've got to that number.
Well, it makes me want to get my umbrella out because it's humid out here today in Southern California.
Yeah.
There might be a little bit of what they call rainstorms nowadays. They call them it's a system. They have new names for uh when it rains out here in Southern California, some type of, stream. It's a new meteorological term, but I really appreciate you coming here, Don.
Oh, I
Um,
appreciate you having me on.
and hope that you're wrong. Not
Well,
for our,
for so many
not for
people
our
in our
accounts.
country, I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah, because have you read the book The Fourth Turning? We're in it.
I've kind of looked at it once or twice.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. What would
yeah.
Jesse Livermore, who has been a model for you, say to people at this juncture in time in front of an election that's no side is going to accept the results, with a war that's escalating in Ukraine and what's happening in the Middle East, and the whole situation with our debt. Um, what would Jesse say to people?
I know what he'd say to you if you are a really serious trader that's willing to risk money. Uh, he would say 7 words: get short and be right and sit tight.
Okay, the toughest part I have is sitting tight.
Yeah.
How about
Well,
you? I mean, isn't that
Jesse Livermore sat tight through the 29 to 32 market and ended
he,
up at the end of that with over $100 million in 1929, which is today the equivalent of $1.2 billion.
okay, so he held positions for 3 years.
Yes, yes.
I tell you, I would have to transform myself into Job to have that
Well,
kind of patience.
well, he
So
always said that it wasn't his thinking that made him the big dollars. It was the sitting.
beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Don, I like to sit, but I'll stand up and give you a hand. It's great to learn and hear about Jesse Livermore.
You
My
bet.
hope for everyone hearing it is that you have a different ending than Jesse.
Right. Yeah.
But you cannot
I'm with you there,
dismiss,
Dale.
yeah, cannot dismiss the genius in what he accomplished. So, Don, good luck, good hunting, my trading warrior brother. It was great to have you on, and we'll see what happens this year. W.D.
Oh,
Gann said 2024. I heard this last year when I was looking for, a big decline last year, that 2024 was going to be a rough year. That's W.D. Gann.
yeah. Yep,
So it
yep.
looks
I've
like,
actually been I've got a good friend who follows scan work, and he keeps me posted on that, and
yeah.
that's very definitely what Gann's work is suggesting.
Well, thank you for being part of our
Oh,
intelligence gathering here at TradeGATEHub.
thank you so much. So great to meet up with you again, Dale, and all the best to you.
All right. Don Mead, everyone, follow him on X at Seven Sentinels and check out Don's offer to educate yourself. You know what? Keep an open mind. It'll keep your account open.
Very good.
All right, Don. Nice seeing
Thanks,
you,
Dale. Take
nice
care of
seeing you,
yourself.
brother. All right.
You got it. Same here.
Adios.
Adios.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Hope you enjoyed.